Hi and Assalamualaikum everyone. We are from Group F and we will be presenting on the architectural tactics on usability. So Group F consists of 4 members starting off with Muhammad Abu Azwan bin Abu Bakar, Ratna Raffyra Binti Fatlly, Siti Qamarina Binti Rosli, and last but not least, me myself, Syabilla Nilam Binti Syaharudin. As for the presentation outline, we will be presenting on the introduction of usability tactics, strategies work or used in usability tactics, and the real-life examples. So, usability is a quality attribute that assesses on how easy users' interfaces are to use. So, the word usability also refers to methods for improving ease of use during the design processes. So, usability is defined by 5 quality components, starting off with learnability, efficiency, memorability, errors, and satisfaction. Starting off with learnability, it is to show on how easy it is for users to accomplish basic tasks the first time they encounter the design. Efficiency is once users have learned the design, how quickly can they perform the task. Memorability is when users return to the design after a period of not using it and how easily can they re-establish proficiency. Errors is how many errors the users makes, how severe are the errors, and how easily can they recover from the errors. Satisfaction is how pleasant it is to use the design. So, there are many other important quality attributes. A key one is utility, which refers to the design's functionality. For example, does it actually do what the users needs? So usability and utility are equally important, and together they determine whether or not something is useful. So it matters little that something is easy if it's not what you want. So it's also no good if the system can hypothetically do what you want, but you can't make it happen because the user interface is too difficult. So in order to study the design utility, we need to use the same user research methods that can improve usability.
Moving on to strategic use, usability tactics is concerned with how easy it is for the user to accomplish a desired task and kind of support the system provide to the user. There are two types of tactics support usability, each intended for two categories for users. The first category, which is runtime tactics, include those that support the user during the system execution. The second category is based on the iterative nature of the user interface design and support the interface developer at design time. I will be focused on the second categories with more details in the next slides. In the runtime tactics, usability is enhanced by giving the user feedback as to what the system is doing and by providing the user with the ability to issue usability-based commands once the system is executed. For example, when canceling a command, the user issues a cancel in the user initiative and the system responds. During the cancel, however, the system may put up a progress indicator in the system initiative. Therefore, cancel demonstrates a mixed initiative, which means this decision between user and system initiative to discuss the tactics that the architect used to achieve the various scenarios. When the user takes the initiative, the architect designs a response as if for any other piece of functionality. The architect must enumerate the responsibility of the system to respond to the user's command. To use the cancel example again, when the user issues a cancel command, the system must be listening for it. Therefore, there is a responsibility to have a constant listener that is not blocked by the actions of whatever is being cancelled. The command to cancel must be killed, meaning any resources being used by the cancel command must be freed. And components that are collaborating with the cancel command must be informed so that they can also take appropriate action. When the system takes the initiative, it must rely on some information, a model about the users, the tasks they undertaken by the users, or the system state itself. Each model requires various types of input to accomplish its initiative. The system initiative tactics are those that identify the model of the system to use to predict either its own behavior or the user's intention. Encapsulating this information will enable an architect to more easily tailor and modify those models. Tailoring and modification can be either dynamically based on past users' behavior or offline during development. In the system initiative, it maintains three models, which is the user model, system, and task model. First is the user model. It determines the user's knowledge of the system, the user's behavior in terms of expected response time, and other aspects specific to a user or a class of users. For example, maintaining a user model allows the system to pace scrolling so that the page do not fly past faster than they can be read. As for system model, it determines the expected system behaviors so that appropriate feedback can be given to the user. The system model predicts items such as the time needed to complete a current activity. And lastly is the task model to determine context so the system can have some idea of what the user is attempting and provide various kind of assistance. For example, knowing that sentences usually start with capital letters will allow an application to correct a lowercase letter in that position. And finally, for the second categories is design time tactics. User interface are typically revised frequently during the testing process. That is, the usability engineer will give the developers revision to the current user's interface design and the developers will implement them. This leads to a tactic that is refinement of the modifiability tactic of the semantic coherence, such as separate the user interface from the rest of the application, are the tactics that use to localize expected changes. Is the rationale for semantic coherence. Since the user interface is expected to change frequently both during the development and after deployment, maintaining the user interface code separately will localize changes to it. The software architecture patterns developed to implement these tactics and to support the modification of the user interface. That is all from me for about the usability strategy used, and passing on to Kama to present about the real life example implementing usability tactics.
Moving on to real examples of usability tactics which we have chosen are Netflix and Google Docs. The usability heuristic category for Netflix includes learnability, efficiency, and memorability. Netflix suggests us a bunch of shows in clearly separated groups: top 10 today, trending now, binge-worthy TV shows, and many more. Such grouping eases users' browsing experience by allowing them to choose a show in an organized manner. The users can first determine which group they'd like to focus on and then browse through a shorter list of shows. Netflix provides instructional text for some buttons that may be confusing for its first-time users. The plus button may be confusing for first-time users because Netflix is not an e-commerce website with a shopping cart. To eliminate such confusion, an instructional text "Add to my list" appears when a user hovers over the button. When a user hovers over a show, Netflix automatically plays its preview. This allows users to quickly and easily get a sense of what the show would be about, instead of having to take multiple steps, i.e., click on the show and then play the preview button. Netflix has a navigation bar that separates TV shows and movies, and for each section, users can browse shows by genres. Such feature allows users to more easily navigate through the shows of their interest. For example, a user may only be interested in binge watching sci-fi TV shows. In this case, they can click on the TV shows page, filter shows by sci-fi genre, and quickly browse through the list. Even if a user returns to Netflix after several months, Netflix has designed its platform in a way that makes it easy for the users to start again from where they left off last time. Netflix has the continue watching feature that keeps track of all the shows its users started watching. The user, therefore, doesn't have to remember which shows they stopped in the middle. They can start rewatching the shows from where they left off wherever they want to. Users can create my list shows just like they can create a wish list on e-commerce websites. Once a user adds a show to this my list, they can easily access it via navigation bar at the top later. The users thus don't have to remember which shows they found interesting. They also don't have to watch the first episode to leave it in their history. Next is the usability heuristics category for Google Docs, consisting of visibility and feedback, mapping, help, and documentation. The system should always inform users what is going on, showing appropriate feedback with reasonable time. Google Docs makes a good example of it by displaying the synchronizing status on the top bar with a lighter color and underline tag, making it easier for users to notice the changes to their documents. Mapping shows an action made to the product and its associations in the real world. When users select certain text or images, an icon with a conversation box shows up on the right side where users can leave comments when clicked on it. In this case, selecting the text with cursor maps to the habit that people leave notes on a paper or document. While it may not always be necessary to have the help and documentation displayed for users, options for searching for help is important. A help tag is always available in the top menu in Google Docs, where users can type in the features they are looking for or look up the problems they have, and usually a Q&A window will show up to solve their problems. That is all from us. Thank you.